Today you are going to do a boot camp on chalk pastel techniques. You need to cover your workspace with newspaper, you need a box of chalk pastels, and you need a Q-tip for blending, or you could use a piece of paper towel. Now we're going to start with some different items that can add texture or different ways to apply the color to your paper. We're going to start by using the tip of a chalk pastel compared to using the side of a chalk pastel. Now when you're covering a lot of space, you want to make sure that you are using the side to cover more space faster. The second series of techniques here, we're going to start with stippling. Stippling is using dots to start to add color. You want to make sure you draw these circles rather than tap them so that you do not annoy your neighbors. For hatching, hatching is a series of parallel lines that all go the same direction. Scumbling is using circular motions to start to add color. And then hatching with a second set of parallel lines on top is called cross hatching. Now I made my second set of lines a different color, but you do not have to. You could make them the same. Now for the intensities, you are going to be adding color to your paper. You can see here I am adding red on the left hand side of my first box, orange on the left hand side of my second box, and yellow on the left hand side of the third box. Now when I go back up to that top one, I'm going to work on green, or add some green on the top right side of that box. In that second box, I'm going to be adding blue. And in that third box, I'm going to be adding violet. So I'm just putting a nice layer of pastel there on my paper. You can see that I left some white space in between. You can also see that I've got a lot of powder accumulating on my paper. Now I'm going to take that Q-tip and I'm going to start to blend the red towards the green and then blend towards the green towards the red. Now there in the center you're going to get a more neutral color. Neutral color between red and green would be kind of a dark gray color. Again, you can see that powder kind of accumulating. You'll be tempted to want to blow on that, but please do not. I rotated my Q-tip and then I'm adding or blending my orange into my blue and my blue into my orange. Now orange and blue together is going to make a little bit of a browner color as you blend them. And then I'll rotate my Q-tip one more time to try to find an empty area, or again I could use a paper towel, and work on my yellow and violet. So I'm taking the yellow and pushing it towards the violet, then I'm going to take the violet and push it towards the yellow. Yellow and violet together are again going to make a browner color. Now as I finish up that side, I'm going to go ahead and try to get rid of all that powder by picking up my paper and kind of shaking it off. As you continue to work, try to keep your left hand then off of what you just did, and try to keep your right hand out of things as well. Now in that first box up on the right hand side, we're going to be blending two colors. Now these should be two colors that are next to each other on the color wheel. You can see that I've chosen red and orange, and I've got the color almost right beside each other. I'm then going to take my Q-tip and I'm going to blend the red, and I will just continue going over the orange to make a nice red-orange color. Now it's important that you use two colors that are next to each other because you are trying to create a new color as you work. For my next section here, I'm going to find two primary colors. The primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. So I'm filling one rectangle with my red, or with my yellow, and then I'm going to fill the other side, the other rectangle, with blue. You're then going to take your Q-tip and you're going to try to mix those two colors into the center there and make the secondary color that those two primary colors would create. So this may take a little bit of work. You may need to add a little bit more color, and that is okay. But your goal is to have that secondary color that you would find on the color wheel in between your two primary colors. Now next is the value scale. Now for your value scale, you're going to start dark on one side. I'm starting there on the left, and you're going to gradually kind of fade out and push very lightly towards the end using only that one color and your blending tool. You'll notice that after you blend, you have the darker color there still on the left, but then it fades out to the white. Now as you make your value scale with white and black, you're going to fill most of that section there with color, but then on one side you're going to add a little white, and on the other side you'll add a little bit of black. Now we do this just to see the contrast between what adding black and white can do to your color and what using the varying pressure like you did on your first value scale looks like in comparison. Now my white was pretty messy, so I did need to go ahead and clean it off. You may need to do that to some of your pastels as well. You will notice in the box of pastels that there is rice in the box. The rice is there to kind of help keep your pastels clean. So make sure you're not taking it out of the container because they are in there for a purpose. But as soon as you have both your white and your black, you're going to go ahead and take your Q-tip and you're going to blend those colors together. Again, to see the difference between working with varying pressure and how it compares to using white and black to make your different colors or your different values. Now in your last two sections there, you're going to be working with tints and shades. To make a tint, I have added white to the box, and then for making a shade, I'm going to add black to the shade box. Now I'm going to be using the same color here. I chose a blue. I'll go over my white with the blue, and I will go over the black with the blue. I'll then blend to make my tint, hoping that this will make a lighter version of my regular blue, and I can compare that to the two blue sections I've already put on my paper. And then I will hopefully be making a shade of blue, which is a darker version of blue, in that last box. Now as you finish up, you want to make sure that you try to get rid of the powder on your paper as much as possible. So you'll pick it up and kind of tap your paper to get it off to the side of your workspace. If that newspaper then becomes really chalky, you can go ahead and throw it away. You'll need to make sure all the pastels are in their container. You will need to wash your hands, and then you will need to check in with me to see what you should do when you are done.